good, people? We back at it for another episode. You know what it is. It's What's the Word with LJ Mental Podcast. As always, I'm your host with the most, LJ. We back in here for another week. It's a new month. It's March. We celebrated Black History last month. But when you really look at it, being black, you don't even have to be black to me. I think Black history should be celebrated, admired, and be inspirational to a lot of people from all different cultures. It should be recognized throughout the year, but I think it's especially important to highlight the different aspects of our the great contributions of legendary black folk throughout the U.S. throughout the years, especially in Black History Month. So just wanted to recognize that and talk about some aspects that a lot of people I feel like haven't in some areas. So this week, before I get into my word of the week, I see now some areas is opening up fully. I see that Texas is about to go 100% back to, I guess, normal, no mask mandate. A lot of states still not having that just yet. I know a lot of us, we tired of wearing a mask, we tired of being in the house. I mean, some events are starting to open back up, restaurants or whatever. Some businesses opening back up throughout the country, throughout the world. But as much as we hate it, we still gotta keep it on lockdown a little bit to some degree, because we don't know what this COVID gonna do. We know if it's a different strand, and we got this vaccine. I'm not gonna get too much into that. I got my own thoughts about that, but this is not what this episode is about. So let's get right into it. So the word of the week is nostalgia. The reason why, and I think I've used this word of the week before, but it's alright. We could use word of the week more than once, if it's relate to the topic. It's my show, so sometimes I might use the word of the week again, but the reason why is I want to talk about a few things in regards to what's been coming out, entertainment, paying homage to the different, got the biopics and documentaries or whatever. So let's start with for one, you got the Tom and Jerry movie that just released, right? Cartoon character, like a lot of us, like myself, grew up a kid, whether it's the 70s, 80s, 90s, or whatever, you know about Tom and Jerry, right? And they took it to the to, I guess, the big screen, but with a lot of theaters being closed, you can't even call it that right now. But yeah, it's interesting to see that. I didn't fully watch the movie yet, but I saw bits and pieces of it. Looked like it could be good. I might check it out later on. But it's real nostalgic. It's like a lot of these films. You look at what's going on, like especially like in the Marvel universe, DC. Like that's all nostalgia and it's great. They got their own different spin on it. That's what I find interesting. Using these characters, whether it's cartoon characters, comic book characters, whatever. You find a way to put a spin on the story in a different way that people haven't seen before. And that's what they did with this Tom and Jerry movie. They put a different spin on it. They chasing each other around a big city or whatever. I'm gonna get around and watching it when I got more time. But yeah, it seems like it's interesting. And a lot of these movies are premiering in wherever there's theaters, but also on these streaming platforms. I'm thinking that might be the new wave. So even when things get back to normal, whatever normal is, I don't even know what the hell that is at this point. But we gonna go with the flow. We just gotta keep it moving to see how the shit gonna go. But But right now, that's looking like that might be not just something for the time being, but that might be something going forward. They might premiere something in theaters because I think still a lot of people still like to go to the movies, myself included. I love going to the movies. I just love seeing on that big screen, going out with your girl, with your peoples, your own boys, your own girls, whatever. I like doing that. That's still dope to me. I don't care what year it is. That's still nice to do. Um, and it is also nice. Be at the crib, kick back, watch a movie at home too. That's also all both experiences are great, can be great. Um, but ain't nothing like that when that movie first come out and you go see it, whether it's a premiere or that first weekend or whatever, and it's in the theater. That's still a dope experience. But it seems like that's what a lot of movies. That's what they doing right now. Obviously, that's what they have to do because they still want to put the content out, and I love it. Uh, so I want to spend a little time talking about my man Biggie Smalls. Right? They released documentary this month, March 1st. I was first looking at it when I first saw this trailer. I'm like, why? I love Biggie Smalls, but I'm asking myself why. I think a lot of people had that question. Um, Premiered on Netflix, and it begs a question of what could they possibly do or tell different that, for one, people would care about, be interested in, and something that's not been told before, put a little different spin on it. There's so many interviews out there. Um, you got the Notorious movie, was the biopic about Biggie, aka Christopher Wallace. Um, um, you got a ton of documentaries already on Biggie and Tupac. Um, so, I mean, I was gonna watch it regardless, because for one, I love hip hop, and Biggie is one of my all-time favorites. So, at this point, I'm like, why? Like, what's the point? Like, I feel like we know like a lot of the story already. The only thing I guess was not confirmed is who shot Biggie. We know it's speculated, it's never been solved or whatever. At this point, do people want to? Because it's not gonna bring Biggie back. Um, it's still a topic, and it still hasn't been solved who shot Biggie. But thought watching the documentary, thought it was a little interesting. I guess for one, I know about his mother, Valletta Wallace, already. People around Biggie, D-Rock or whatever, Mr. C, one of his first people that got him off the ground, and then they taking him to Puffy. So yeah, we know about that. They put in some, they got some home video of Biggie singing Jodeci. I don't know if that's been in documentaries, but I've seen that before. I've seen it online. They've shown it, I think, on TV years ago. Like, that's not new information to the public, I think. But I think one thing that was kind of, I didn't really know personally is when Biggie talked about in an interview how he didn't really, I think when he got a little older, he didn't really listen to hip hop like that. He listened to the oldies, like the stylistics. I didn't know about that, which is dope to see. Like other people listen different to me. Myself, I love all different kinds of music. I love oldies. I love some new shit. I just love good music. At the end of the day, it's music is a mood. So maybe that's what Biggie was feeling. Like maybe I'm in the mood for this, and like so. But and also, they showed his grandmother, who's in her 90s. That's a blessing that she's able to be alive, still living that long. But yeah, I've never really seen her on camera before, so that was something I think that was new. Because they've always shown his mother, they've shown Lil C's, how they always talked about how they always trying to look out for his mom or whatever. Yeah, they always show Lil C's. Obviously, they're gonna show Puffy, aka Diddy. Now I still call him Puffy. But yeah, it was interesting to see. And it's always kind of a happy and sad feeling at the same time for me personally whenever they show Biggie, because you hear these great musics, you hear them talking, they showing them on stage. It's like a happy feeling, but it's sad at the same time because you know he not here no more. It's like, man, he's like back for a second, but at the end of the day, he's gone. Um, they showed the funeral in Brooklyn, how the whole city came out, and that's not nothing new. We've seen that. A lot of the stuff in there, I mean, we already seen. So for the most part, I think it didn't really offer a lot of new information or new. I mean, there was a couple little, like, I didn't know Biggie was a neighbor of a night a jazz artist. I didn't know that. And he said Biggie used to hang around him and see him with all the girls or whatever. And he's like, oh man, I want to do that too. But yeah, it's a couple little gems in there that I guess wasn't, I guess, public knowledge before. But for the most part, um, it has been public knowledge, and I don't think you could ever tell a Biggie or Tupac documentary without mentioning the other. And right on cue, when I saw it, like they mentioned Tupac, you just, them two gonna ever forever be um, mentioned together. Like you can't mention one without the other. They got two separate lives, obviously, but their friendship, how their lives ended, how they were both kind of connected. This shit is crazy, cause man, ain't you just can't mention one without the other. If there was a Tupac documentary or whatever, you just can't mention one without the other. I don't think it's possible, because they were too important as of their stories. Both of their stories, especially how they like and both ended 24 and 25. You can't mention one without the other. And bringing this back full circle, like this documentary that just came out, it's like real nostalgic because it brings back the memories. You telling a few little news stories that I don't think was really out there like that. They might have been out there. I don't know. I don't think they were worldwide known. Like, but for the most part, it was. It was a good documentary. But I don't think it offered anything too much that was new. So first I was like, what's the point? But it was good. It was nice to watch, nice to see. It was some good content to bring it all together. And when I hear Puffy talk a bit about Biggie, how he's like, man, this is one of the greatest artists I've ever heard. And to be perfectly honest, Big Puffy has worked with a lot of great singers, rappers, whatever. He's worked with a lot of different people, put them on, signed them, all of that. I think Biggie is the greatest artist he's ever had. I don't think he's ever gonna find anything like that again to replace it. Some things are once in a lifetime that'll probably never come around again. As far as that level of greatness, that charisma, that tenacity, whatever it is, there's certain people that just comes around once in life. And I think Biggie is one of those people. Especially how his level to be that big like that and cross-eyed, and he said people made fun of him, and how he flipped it. Like he owned up to his shit, so you can't really say shit about him because he talked about himself. Fat black, he could fat black, I'm ugly as ever. However, I stay coochie down to the socks. Like he basically saying like, hey man, I'm maybe this big dude. I got a cocked eye, but I'm still gonna be smooth and get these women. Like that's how can you not respect that? That's so dope. And one thing that just reminded me, they showed Biggie with the crown and Biggie sitting on the throne in the One More Chance video. Even though I feel like Pac is the greatest rapper of all time, Biggie is right up there. He's in my top 3 of all time. Biggie was always had the mindset like, I'm the best, I'm the king in New York. You saw it. He had that whole aroma, and everybody believed it. Like nobody was disputing that. Like, oh no, I'm the king. Like Biggie was basically the undisputed king of New York at one time, and he just showed it up. Pac, I think took on that type of role, like he wanted to be the king of the Death Row, and then come back a bit later on. But Biggie always had that type of persona, like throughout his whole career. Like, I'm the king of this. I want to be the best. Like, that wasn't Pac initially. I think that's the biggest difference between them, aside from the rap, the type of rap skills. People could argue all day. Pac was lyrical, not lyrical, whatever. But I'm not. That argument probably going to the end of time. Who's better between Pac and Biggie? The argument will always go on. But just like how you got who the big debate now is Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. I think Pac and Biggie argument are always gonna be around. But it was a good documentary. But one thing I wanted to point out though is all these Big and Pac documentaries and some of these other legendary rappers, I wouldn't mind seeing. I really want to see a Big L documentary or movie. I heard one's in the works. I don't know if anything's confirmed yet, but I did hear that one was in the works. I don't know how accurate it is. There's some online social media stuff about it. So you can look it up, but I want to see Big L. I feel like that's an interesting story that hasn't been told. And I know Biggie's a much bigger, well-known artist than Big L is, but I think Big L had enough cachet. He deserves a documentary and a movie. I believe Big L deserves a biopic. I can see that shit being on Netflix. Like, I really think Big L need his own. I think it's time, because we already know the Biggie story. We got the movie already, ton of interviews, documentaries. It's still a lot of, to me it seems like it's still a lot of mystery with Big L. Like, some stuff is out there, but I always wonder, like, how was Big L, like, at the studio? Like, how was he, like, with the homies? Like, how was he at the crib? Like, what type of, was he with the girls and all of that? You hear stuff in the music, and I've heard a few stories about Big L, how he's a jokester. Like, I'd like to see that on display, like, whether it's in a documentary or I want to see a movie. Like, I think it's time, man. Like, Big L deserves that. Also, in the young dude that died too early. But I don't really want to see another. You know, I love Biggie. Like, I'm not dissing the documentary at all, because I think it's a good documentary. I just didn't see the point of it. I mean, maybe they didn't look at it that way. And who the hell am I to say they shouldn't do a Biggie documentary? I'm just speaking with my opinion. I don't want to see no more Biggie or Pac documentaries. I love them both. Love their music. Will probably always listen to their music. I don't care how old I get. But it's time. I want to see Big L. Like, Big L definitely needs a movie. I don't even think there's no full documentaries about him. You hear some interviews, but I'm really surprised there hasn't been really anything really out there with Big L. Like, yeah, like, even like a Pimp C. Like, I would be interested in seeing that. That would be dope to see. Another deceased artist. Like, I would love to see that. But to me, that would be my number one as far as slain MCs. Big L will be top of the list for me of artist documentary / biopic that I would want to see. That would be interesting. I'm curious to hear, like, everybody else's. Who would you want to see, like, biopic or documentary, so to speak? Because me, it was number one. I would love to see a couple of them. But even a Matt Dre from the Bay Area, like, I would be interested in seeing that. But to me, my top one that I definitely want to see is Big L. I feel like that's the information that I've seen and heard about Big L. I feel like that could be an interesting story that hasn't been told before. Obviously, certain things you probably can't tell because of the streets or whatever, and I respect that, but I feel like that could be done. I don't know if his brother's working on it. I don't know if Fat Joe can have something to do with it, like the people around him, Lord Finesse. Uh, I don't know, but that would be dope to see, man. Somebody please make that happen. As far as slaying MCs that need a biopic, I think Big L need to have, make that happen. So, um, now I think there's a couple good TV shows out there, and I'm kind of late on one in particular, uh, and I'm talking about Snowfall. I just started getting on that like last week. I know they in season 4 right now, so I'm kind of happy I waited because now I got 3 seasons to catch up. um, but it's so far. I think I'm in the second season, and I didn't like the main character in the beginning. The first like 5 episodes, I thought he was kind of soft. Thought he was acting like a bitch. I'm like, dude, like you in this game, why you acting like he was pissing me off in the beginning, but as soon as later on in the season, like the last 2 episodes of season 1, he stepped up, and I'm like, yo, this dude is for real now. Like I fuck with him now. Like Franklin is a G, and like the characters is dope. Like characters make a good show. You can't just have one really good character. You gotta have some great characters. His uncle is a dope character. Um, his aunt Louie is a dope character. I like her a lot. She's one of my favorite characters. Plus, she's sexy too. Um, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, she fine. But yeah, yeah, I think it's a great show. Um, Created by John Singleton. Uh, Another nostalgic. So it's not telling anybody's story in particular. It's just highlighting a particular era, the first crack era pandemic, or not pandemic, epidemic. First time crack really hit the streets in the U.S. Where they was figuring out what it is, how to cook it up, and all of that. Um, so telling their own kind of story with fictional characters, but telling a real type story of that era, which is pretty dope how they did it. Um, so yeah, I got some catching up to do, and I'm interested in seeing, cause rest in peace, John Singleton. He passed away, so I'm guessing his involvement. He wasn't involved in the 3rd or 4th season, obviously, because he's no longer here. I'm not sure if he had any involvement in season 3 before he passed. But obviously 4th season he couldn't have. And hopefully, along with the other people that helped create the show, hopefully they keep it great, because I know some shows and series and franchises, and they take over by somebody else and just plummets. Um, I've seen that happen so many times, but I think he created with a couple different people, John Singleton, and so it's probably gonna still be good. But I got some catching up to do. I love the show. It's becoming one of my favorite shows. And I'm gonna keep watching it. I'm looking forward to it. I might talk about it again later on when I get fully caught up. But yeah, I love the show. The last thing I wanted to talk about before I get up out of here is another nostalgic piece of work, and that's Coming to America, the sequel. I don't even know what to call it. Is it Coming to America 2, or because it's titled Coming with the number 2 America? I don't know. Either way, it's Coming to America. I'm looking forward to that. Another movie that's going to premiere on the streaming platform Prime Video. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be good. It's a long wait for. Oh man, first movie came out in '88. That's the year I was born. Um, I know my mama looking forward to it. That was my mama's favorite movie of all time. Um, and I know a lot of people love Coming to America. I'm one of the people too. Um, so seeing this now, a movie came out when I was literally like an infant. To seeing it now as a grown man, like a sequel to Coming to America, is crazy to me. Um, but yeah, I can't wait for that. And it seems like a lot of the characters is coming back. But yeah, that should be good. come out on Friday, and yeah, gonna keep this thing going. So yeah, that's it for me today. Hope everybody listening is staying healthy, staying out the way. If you don't take the vaccine, I'm not encouraging anybody either way, whether you take it or not, because I'm not even sure I'm gonna take it. But if you don't, at least get on your vitamins, keep your immune system strong. At least do that. Wash your damn hands. Don't be nasty, people. Wash your motherfucking hands. Take your vitamins. Be safe. Be healthy. Um, but yeah, that's gonna be it for me. This has been another episode of What's the Word with LG Mental Podcast. I'm out.